the new COMELEC ruling is a big one for all survey firms.
Yes.
So while we will comply, it is very strict actually. We're still studying it, so we'll leave it at that for the moment. But it is quite strict.
Professor, so nakuha na kasi hinihintay ko pa yung detalye. It's a pre-election that's a surveys for pre-election lang naman, yung registration nyo, no? Ano yung ibig sabihin na it's tight requirement?
Intro mo muna si Professor.
The requirement for us to publish will require us to pre-register. It will also require us, which I agree with naman, to state who our subscribers are, which I think is fair. Yeah, but there's some criminal aspect, liability for non-compliance. And so that's kind of strict in this day and age, no? Where in other countries, survey companies are left basically free. No?
Ano yung criminal liability? Ano yun?
Well, ma'am, we're still studying it. Pero dun sa latter part, that is the copy I got. Merong mga sanctions for non-compliance. So while we're not making any statement yet and we're committing to comply, from that point of view, at least what our other fellows are saying, medyo it's on the strict side. So, and it's the first time it's going to be implemented. And we are with COMELEC in making this, helping, realize a fair and honest elections. And we're always going to comply with whatever the COMELEC wants. But it's on the strict side, and it will require all survey firms to pre-register within the next few days, no? So they can publish their own survey data. If you're not going to publish, then it doesn't matter. It really is for those who are going to publish, and has implications on media also. So we're still studying it. We'll come out with a statement as soon as we get a consensus on this. But of course, if it's COMELEC, we have no way but to comply, no? We have
ang boses po narinig ay boses ang tinig ni Professor Ranjit Rye, ang Pangulo ng OCTA Research na ngayon pa lang namin i-introduce. Pero nakipagkwentuhan na tayo.
At ano yung topic natin?
It's to be promulgated pa, this, what you call this, COMELEC, new COMELEC pictures. But we study it. We'll come out with a statement, maybe with the others also who may have a different perspective on this.
Yes, sir.
But definitely, if we're talking about fair, honest, and clean elections, we're all for it, definitely. And survey companies have a responsibility talaga to be transparent and accountable, not just in their methodology, in the release of their own data, the data that they produce, but also if there's a need to inform the public of whoever is subscribing, lalo if it's an election-related probe.
Yes, sir. Sir, let me zoom in to the latest OCTA survey on the Dutertes versus the Marcoses. The late January survey shows wala, at least statistically, walang
at the national level, wala talagang pagbabago. It remains the same practically. But what's interesting, although the margin of error, you have to understand that the sub-national level is much higher. It's for the regional or for the areas, it's plus minus 6%. So it's a bit higher. It's interesting to look at the granular changes, no, over time. And the last time we had the survey of this nature was in the third quarter of 2024.
August.
So, August. Yeah.
That was a long time ago in our political calendar.
That was even before
But we were also first trying to find out why these changes happen at the granular level.
Dami na nangyari since then.
Pero sir, before you go to the granular, yung sabi ko nga, statistically at least, walang pagbabago even though umakyat yung isa ng 3, baba yung isa ng 2. Statistically, walang pagbabago.
Lalo na dahil 6% ang margin of error.
Pero sir,
3% at the national level. So because of the margin of error, we can't say with certainty that a trend or a change happened, no? Because of the margin of error. It's within the margin of error, and therefore it's statistically that it remains the same. But it's interesting for social scientists like me to look at the granular level, why these changes happen. So basically, in August, the picture was there was a rise, a continuing upward trend for pro-Marcos, the pro-Marcos preference. and a downward trend for the Pro-Duterte preference. It seems in this new survey, it's different now. I think the Pro-Duterte preference is moving to, has stopped declining. And in our view, there was a surge in support for it at the granular level, and it's likely to go up over the next few months. No, it's possible it could. So yung decline niya nag-stop na po. So yung nag-reverse na yung kanyang trend. Yun lang, I think, one of the big things here.
Na-cover na ba dyan, Professor, yung GAA? Yung controversy over the national budget?
Yeah, I think so. I think this covers all the things, in our view kasi, it's also consistent with what we're seeing in our other probes where, for example, you're looking at hunger data and poverty data. All of that increased in the fourth quarter of 2024. 50% of our families are now self-rating themselves as poor.
Yeah.
The amount of people who are now saying that they're hungry is much higher, no? From 11 in the third quarter to 16%.
That's big.
So all
That's a
of
big
this,
jump, huh?
put this together with the controversy about the budget, there seems to be a momentum shift towards, and of course, the Pro-Duterte preference was declining because of the Quadcom, the momentum towards the impeachment. But all of that seemed to have been lost in December and January when the narrative changed, no? And we started to have this discussion about the budget crisis, all of the politicking with regards to resource allocation. And of course, this, the hardship that actually happened in the fourth quarter of 2024. Parang nagkaroon ng momentum shift, no? Parang nagkaroon ng surge of support in certain areas for the Pro-Duterte preference.
Significant ba yung shift, Professor?
Well, one could see it as that, lalo na when you look at, for example, the granular data on Class E, no? You had a 19% a jump in preference for the Pro-Duterte. You also had a consolidation increase, no, in Mindanao. But by and large, no, it's been stable everywhere else except where it matters, no, because the government's trying to do all these initiatives, no, its dole-outs to touch, at least have impact on Class E. So all of this put together, it seems like nag-halt na yung decline sa Duterte preference, and there was a slight decline sa pro-Marcos preference, but it's still substantial, no, at 36%. What seems to have been, has not changed at all is the number of people who are independents, no, at 26%. Those who are undecided or ambivalent went down a bit, no? And it seems that some of them went to the Pro-Duterte side. So yun ang nakikita namin. But it's at the national level, it's relatively the same.
Professor, did I get you right? Sabi mo, you're expecting a continuing improvement for the Dutertes?
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing initially. It may not actually happen if we're going to have this other survey, other probe, the same probe done in March. Maybe we might see some change. Definitely, the decline has reversed as far as the preference for the Duterte side is concerned. They were on decline for almost 2 quarters. So,
Pero yung improvement, what will you attribute it to? I'm asking you as a political scientist naman, your hat as a political scientist.
Yeah, that's what I discussed earlier. Parang, it seems like it's rooted in, the impact of, the issue of poverty and hunger. It seems to be linked to issues like the budget crisis that, monopolized the heirs in January. So a lot of this, also what we're seeing in other probes, no? When you look at our party list probe, one of the top party lists suddenly in the top 3 is the Duterte Youth. There seems to be some sort of surge, no, of support, and it seems to be in E. There seems to be a consolidation in Mindanao. So so all of this maybe it probably is driven by the election, the discussion on the impeachment, the continuing, political fallout because of the budget, and the reality that, there are more people who are hungry and who are self-rating themselves as poor. So all of this put together may be providing some sort of fuel for a rebound, a reversal, probably a change in the trend. But we're not certain about that. It's just that we're seeing some of this movement, interesting movement at the granular level.
Sir, baliw ko lang yung kanina kasi statistically walang movement even though tuloy-tuloy yung pagbakbak doon kay VP Sara Duterte. Now kasi as journalists sometimes we look at non-movement as sometimes more significant than movement. Parang yung tipong bakit hindi gumalaw sa kabila ng lahat ng nangyayari? And then sometimes that leads us to other better leads. So isn't that more telling na hindi gumalaw yung mga numbers?
Actually, gumalaw siya at dahil hindi lang siya lumampas sa margin of error, pero gumalaw po siya. May plus 3%.
In the opposite direction pa.
So gumalaw siya and tama ka, Ed, no? You can also interpret it that way. It is quite telling, no, that despite all the negative media, it seems that they even got momentum. But we have to understand that the whole of January was really focused on the budget crisis, the issue of reallocating certain resources away from education and health. The government lost the narrative and control of the narrative. So that may have contributed.
Pero Prof, may galaw sa E kasi 19 points yung galaw
Yeah.
Di ba galaw yun? That's significant Poorest of the poor. That's the poorest of the poor.
Ginalaw Kaya hindi mo masasabing siya
Hindi gumalaw.
Walang pinanggagalingan at hindi mo masasabing hindi nag-reverse o hindi tatigil yung trend. Mukhang it has stopped yung decline and it's on its way to moving up, no? We don't know that, but it seems like that's where the direction is, no? It's so apparent now, but yeah.
Ano yung 63% self-rated poverty ang tatamaan dyan, gobyerno
Lagi. And the fourth quarter is consistent even with the other survey companies. They're seeing the same thing. Record high self-rated poverty, significant increases in self-rated hunger. So yeah. But the government is trying to do something. It's trying to resolve the issue with the crisis in rice. And I think the hope of everyone is that rice prices will stabilize, will actually go down this month to next month and for the next few months, no? And I think the government's discussion on minimum wage is going, if it is realized, will probably have some positive effect, no? Pero it must be clear na mas marami pa rin tayong mga kababayan nag-identify sa administration, sa Pro-Marcos, mas konti nag-identify sa Pro-Duterte. Yung decline sa Pro-Duterte over the last few quarters, 2 quarters, mukhang na-halt na. Parang may momentum sila ngayon at may surge in certain areas. Mas marami pa rin Pilipino, pag kinombine mo yung ambivalent at saka independent, na naghahanap ng bagong leadership. No? Yung opposition, nag-increase rin So, but again, it's very nominal. Yeah.
Pwedeng pumunta yan kay Manny Mugato.
Sir, just for context, this survey was conducted January 20-something, 20 to 25 ata. But anyway, this was before
31,
this was before the impeachment.
25 to 31, January 25 to 31.
This was before the impeachment of February 5.
After the Iglesia rally.
This is after the Iglesia rally. And
all the budget, all the
discussions
budget
about the budget. Medyo malaki yung discussion na yan. I think government took a hit because of that, and they weren't able to communicate, articulate a response, effective response to it. And I think this together with all the others I discussed probably explains why there was a slight movement, downward movement.
Kaya siguro natanggal si Cesar Chavez.
Hindi daw effective. Pero yung follow-up, do you think it can be projected sa elections?
I think so. I
Sa
think
tingin niyo?
this is an core. I mean, it's already being articulated by
Candidates.
that side of the opposition, the Duterte side, no? Whether it's poverty, hunger, or even the budget. It's a big issue, and which is why important yung sinabi ni former Senator Frank Drilon, no? That some sort of budget reform should happen. The executive has to respond, no, by reallocating back to education and health. Basically taking control of the budget, for the year, for this fiscal year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. OCTA Research President Dr. Ranjit Rye. Thank you very much, sir.